secret. Uh, yeah. Did you like it at all? Like,
I
it's
liked the
that.
first Airplane. It had a few bits. It was very funny. It was like,
Mhm.
it always felt like if any of those 2000 spoof films didn't suck, and like also weren't just
Right,
pop
yeah.
culture references. Like the good thing about Airplane, I always felt like was like even if the jokes sometimes felt fairly obvious in a lot of ways, and not always, some of them were genuinely very clever. Like. God, I'm gonna get so much hate for this, because as soon as you mention anything, like, even remotely, not even critical, I think Airplane is consistently funny, and I think a lot of the jokes could feel obvious to somebody who was born after the movie came out, because the jokes
Sure.
that penetrated pop culture in such a way that you saw
Sure.
them referenced 1,000 times and didn't realize they were references to Airplane, and then you saw Airplane
Right.
and you were like, oh, that's, and instead of being like, oh, that,
Right.
so I take that
Yeah.
back even. All the jokes did stand the test of time, other than in the sense they weren't just references to a movie that nobody's going to remember, or like a celebrity
right.
that was popular at the time.
Right.
Kareem
Versus like
Abdul-Jabbar,
your
very
scary
charismatic,
movies. Or,
and
yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's in that movie, right? And he didn't kill anyone
Yeah. No.
that we know of. Only on the
Not in
basketball
that,
court.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, Connection. So was Leslie Nielsen,
Oh wow.
who was in the Naked Gun movies. So.
Oh yeah, I guess people have their stars. Speaking of the Naked Gun movies, we do unfortunately have to issue a somber announcement on this episode of the show, which is I know we've hyped a certain guest that was coming next week. Unfortunately, we do have to inform you that O.J. Simpson will not be appearing
Oh man.
on the April 21st edition, 22nd edition of Underworld News Tonight.
I want to make it clear this was not discussed beforehand.
Well,
this joke
he
was not cleared by me.
Well, joke. You think I'm fucking laughing, buddy?
Right. Now who are we gonna get?
Oh man. Well, Oscar Pistorius just got out, right?
I think so. Oh man.
Let's go on that. We can make fun of the South African accent, you know?
Yeah. That one's hard to do.
No, it's not.
Yeah, see, that sounds Australian to my ears.
All right. Well, everyone's a fucking critic. Anyway, I'm Andrew Michaels, the face of pickled eggs. This is Underworld News Tonight,
Right.
and I am joined by my co-host. And thank you so much for joining me, Jason. I know you've spent the last 25, 26 hours mourning the loss of a Buffalo Bills legend. So I just appreciate you taking the time out to be on the show.
Pulled myself together. Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
the Buffalo Bills.
You know, the thing is, I don't condone the double murder, but I loved his cover of "These Boots Are Made for Walking."
All right.
I appreciate you getting that one, because I thought about making that joke. I thought about making that joke at an open mic night last night, and I was like, man, some of these people were born in like 2006. They're not going to get that shit.
No.
They're not going to get a reference to fucking Dukes of Hazzard 2004. It's incomprehensible to anyone born after 1999.
Right. It's a little incomprehensible to me.
I still don't even believe it exists. There was a real Owen Wilson renaissance, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Wait, was he in that?
I think so. Wasn't he a Duke of Hazzard?
No.
In the reboot? Who was in that?
It was
Jessica
Johnny
Simpson.
Knoxville.
That was the jokes. Johnny Knoxville?
And then somebody else.
From Jackass?
Yeah.
All right, it was 2005.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're right. It's Johnny Knoxville and Sean William Scott. I forgot about that guy.
That's it.
What's he been in since?
I think most people do. He's always just that guy.
All right, so Sean William Scott. All right, we don't need to get into the career of Sean William Scott right now. You guys can look that up yourself. This is not the time for us to look up the Wikipedia pages of actors. He makes money off of doing voices in the Ice Age movies, seemingly, so he probably gets a lot of royalties on that. He was in the Fox Lethal Weapon show that was on for 4 years that I've never heard of. That ended in 2019. Did you know there was a Lethal Weapon TV show on Fox for 4 years that ended while you and I still lived in the same town?
No, I think I knew it existed, but I didn't know it was 4 years. Yeah.
I
I'd
think
never
so.
seen
Let me
it.
check. Let me check. Let me check. I would
Okay,
hate to spread
no, we
misinformation
can-
about this, and then we'll stop,
the
and then I will
the
stop
career
talking
of
about the career of Sean
Sean
William
Sean
Scott.
William Scott.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It
He
was
was
1 year. I read the 5s and 8. Maybe I'm going blind. I hope so. So
yeah.
that I don't know. There's a lot. I see a lot on a regular basis. That I'm kind of like, nah.
He was pretty good in oh man, I think it was like in
Dude, where's my car?
1999. I actually never saw that. Uh,
Oh, you never saw Dude, Where's My Car?
no, I've seen this much more
It's
obscure
fine.
movie with him though, called Evolution. It was like the dude who wrote Ghostbusters wrote it, and it starred David Duchovny and Sean William Scott, and it was kind of an
That's a
ensemble
pairing.
cast that like were had to like fight aliens, like poorly CGI 1999 aliens.
I
It
love
was all right. It
1999
was like
CGI.
it was kind of a said like Ghostbusters adjacent, so
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean,
actiony,
as
but
far
like jokey, and it
there's a
was all right.
type of like there's a type of like mid quality 90s action movie that is very fun.
Yeah.
That just
Hmm.
doesn't get made today. That
Right.
no studio is going to make a certain type of movie today. That can be
Hmm.
good or can be bad, but is always a certain level of fun. Like
Right.
so a good version of this movie is honestly, although this is a bit higher budget, The Rock,
Hmm.
right? With
Oh
Nicolas
yeah.
Cage.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This is the highest budget version of this movie, probably, right? That
Right.
exists.
Right.
And
No,
The Rock, I
yeah.
think, is a really good movie. The Rock is
Yeah,
Michael Bay's
absolutely.
best movie by far. The only Michael Bay movie that I would call unequivocally a great movie is The
Hmm.
Rock, starring Nicolas
Hmm.
Cage, right? It's in
Yeah.
the Criterion Collection, I think.
No, I agree. Yeah. For what
Experiential,
it was the best.
yeah,
It was the best
absolutely.
at what it was trying to do.
But the thing is, after 4 beers, you get enough people together. There's experientially no difference between watching that and watching the movie Time Cop, starring John Claude
Right.
Van Damme. That I
Right.
think
Hmm.
we talked about because we talked about the fucking plan at the beginning of that movie, which I already forgot
Right.
about a
Right.
few months ago or whatever. That movie is
Yeah.
not particularly good, but it doesn't
No.
matter.
No. It's all right. I still like it, but no, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not good at all.
But we
I don't
don't
know.
have the time
Yeah, what are we
to
doing?
rank every action film made between the years 1993 and 1997. I think we're both equipped to do it. I think Leonard Maltin has
Mm-hmm.
reached out multiple times. He said him towards. Is Leonard
Right.
Maltin still
Mhm.
alive or did he die? That
Oh
guy has
boy,
to be dead.
asking the
Leonard Maltin.
wrong
My parents
person.
had a Leonard Maltin movie book. If you can tell by
Now
my
I'm gonna look them
personality,
up.
I didn't have a lot of friends as a kid, so I read the Leonard Maltin movie guide a lot to like his favorite directors. Leonard Maltin is alive. Oh, he's only 73. And his wife's still
Oh,
alive. So ladies, stay
so
tuned.
he's got some years in him. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
he's
was
only
always a
73. For some reason, I guess his knowledge of film just made him seem wise behind his years. Beyond his years, I should say, similar to me.
I was always an Ebert and Siskel and Ebert fan.
Siskel and
Like
Ebert,
even as
now
a
they're both
kid,
dead.
for some reason,
I
just
loved
like
Siskel.
it
I
appealed to
loved
me
watching old
that
episodes.
yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah,
Like
well, the thing is that when I was a kid, Siskel was already dead.
yeah.
Ebert, by the time I could watch anything like so I knew references to Siskel and
Mhm.
Ebert, and I saw old clips, but
Mhm.
I'd seen a little bit of Ebert and Roper, which was
Yeah.
I like Richard
It was
Roper
fine.
actually at the
Yeah.
time,
No, he was
and it was
fine.
fine, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the same
It's fine.
magic. And then I had later seen At the Movies with Ben and Ben, which is fucking horrible. Don't watch
Oh
that shit.
no, I haven't.
It was
No,
two
I didn't
guys
see
named
that.
Ben. I think their only qualification is that they were both named. I'm sure they're nice guys. If they're listening, I'm sorry, guys. But I think their only qualification was that they were named Ben. Maybe they're dead now. I don't know. COVID.
Yeah. So anyway, what do we do on this podcast besides?
Oh, we talk about the weird,
besides
wacky, and
talk
wild
about
news of the week. We talk about the weird, wacky, and wild news of the week. Squonkapalooza, August 10th. We're gonna be
Yeah.
there. Speaking of weird, wacky, and wild news, Jason, I've got a story that's gonna fulfill all three. Now this is from Bro Bible. Now
Hell yeah.
before I continue, I just want to say that I know
Okay.
last week I maybe went a bit overboard on jokes and we
With
read from the website Bro Bible, where I talked about the film series Boy Bible, a series of documentary films. So I'm not going
Right.
to reference those even more, even though they do provide some really good advice to what to do on if your buddy in your college football team has a
Mhm.
gluteal strain and you have to give a really deep massage and there's a hard to reach crevice that you have to massage and your hands are
Mhm.
just too meaty from gripping that pig skid all day to get there. So you have to use
Sure.
an alternate method. But we can't even
Sure.
go into that because
No.
my
No.
co-host has told me I went overboard last week
A little bit.
extolling these films.
Yeah.
So this
A
is
little
from Bro
bit. Yeah.
Bible, which doesn't remind
Yeah.
me of anything. This is a story
No,
from
nothing
Douglas
at all.
Charles, who
Mhm.
I think might have written the stories last week. I don't fucking remember these
Mm.
people's names.
Yeah.
I barely remember your name. What is it?
I know.
OJ Simpson, I think.
Uh-huh. There another another slipped in another one. Good job.
Multiple witnesses claim quote unquote Bigfoot stalked them in a UK national park.
Mm.
This is from Douglas Charles, like I said.
Right. Uh-huh.
Multiple witnesses in the South Downs National Park in the United Kingdom claim
Mhm.
to have had frightening encounters with what they describe as a growling bipedal Bigfoot-like creature. I felt
Hmm.
incredibly on edge, and it was a feeling I can honestly say I have never experienced before or since, said one witness, Mike Brown. It was really as if something was watching me, and I was not welcome.
Mm. Wow.
I felt something
It's
similar to
spooky.
that. I
Mhm.
felt something similar to that taking a shit in Jason's bathroom last night.
Mhm. Yep. It probably didn't help that I was staring the whole time.
Yeah.
just
Well,
stare right in the eye, just eye contact the whole time.
you were saying could you at least let me finish wiping first?
Nope, you just started. You just let loose. All right, here we go.
I said, can't we hourglass it?
I feel like maybe this might be like a metaphor for our podcast. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking
All
about
right,
it too
anyway.
hard.
All right. Witnesses also have reported that the Bigfoot often escapes down a quote unquote dangerous slope where no human
Mm.
would traverse, according to Daily Star. And this is where I have to say, these fucking
Mhm.
Brits. Am I allowed to say limey or is that a racial slur? Am I allowed to say redcoat? Can I call them
I
redcoats?
think I man. Um, I think redcoat's probably okay.
All right, these fucking redcoats are weak. No wonder they lost the
Mhm.
goddamn Revolutionary War. Would you, as
Right.
an American, look at any slope and not even say this is too dangerous for any human to survive going down? We've all looked at slopes and said that. But if you had
Right.
looked at anything and said, no human would dare go down that.
Right. Mhm. No, actually, to be and completely honest, I have in the other room a sack full of tools and ropes to accomplish that very thing.
No. You don't understand. You
Just
don't
to do.
understand. Jason. You don't understand. You're talking about doing it safely. That's still kind of within the British mindset because the Bigfoot is going down,
Oh,
And I'm
well,
saying Bigfoot because this is the
right. He's
UK, so
got
I don't
big
think it would
feet.
be a
Yeah.
Sasquatch
Right.
unless it got on a plane, which would explain the Malaysia Airlines flight or 9/11. Who knows?
Shit. It blew my mind.
Well, that's
No, no.
I would know if that. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the metaphor I would use.
No,
We are on
no,
fire
I
today.
guess right. I guess I just assumed that a Bigfoot would have. Yeah, no, continue. So it's a too scary a slope for a normal human,
Yeah. What I'm saying
right?
is that wait. So I'm sorry, but can we pause for a second? You
Please.
assumed a Bigfoot would have access to your climbing tools?
My assumption, I suppose, was that if I have access to them, perhaps Bigfoot does too. Like they exist
Well,
that are in the
Bigfoot doesn't
world.
have like a. If Bigfoot had access to the shit we had access to, they'd take over because they're also stronger. I don't think they have access to our tech. I think what they're saying is that they're
Well,
raw dog in this slope.
right. No,
So like,
I think that's what they're saying too. Yes, I was just saying to look at
yeah,
a
and I'm
slope
saying
and
that
think
any
no human would dare. Like, well, yeah,
yeah, no, I'm saying, but a human will try to ass slide down it like it's fucking Legend of Zelda.
Yes, yeah.
Man,
No, you're absolutely right.
I love
Mhm.
But I think specifically an American, a Brit will not. A Brit will not. Here,
Mhm.
you know how I know that? So I was in
Hmm.
London last year, and it's none of your fucking business why, listeners. You don't need to know shit about
No.
my goddamn
Yeah.
family. This
Mm.
parasocial relationship we have, uh it's only okay when it gets me listens and thus strokes my ego, but otherwise,
Right.
it was got to stop. But I was in London last year, and I saw a
Sure.
sign on the fucking tube, which is the subway, as us Brits call it,
Okay.
and it
Okay.
said it was some shit about like people getting injured on the escalators, or maybe not like stepping into the gap appropriately on the train. It was like this many people get injured every year. Don't be a
Okay.
statistic, as if be like don't inconvenience us. And it's
Uh-huh.
like you just need to. In America, we just show the dead body. We just show a picture of the body on the sign and be like, don't do this, and it's a bit more
Right.
effective.
Mhm.
They don't have to go
No,
that
that's
far,
right.
and
Yeah.
I think that's a sign of weakness.
No, and in some places here in America, we'll just leave the body
Oh yeah,
like there, kind of as an example.
yeah, all the time,
The,
man.
the mind the
That's
gap or whatever the fuck that means. I don't
Yeah, my old gym left a dead guy under a barbell for 9 days just to show you. You got to make sure
right.
to
Need a
scale
spotter.
yourself up. If you're gonna lift to fail, you need a spotter. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Did we tell that guy who had a ghost in his gym that he needs that advice? Yes, we did. We did tell him that,
I
right?
believe we did. Yes, we did.
When he
Yeah.
found out about Slipknot, because otherwise, man,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
he'd be talking to that ghost again soon. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Brown continued.
Okay.
I think, though, the most standout thing is the terrain being covered in the dark. It sounds
Mm.
dangerous enough to attempt in the daylight, let alone in the dark. When you can't see any obvious signs of torchlight, that's the really scary part. Because no human could do it without suffering injury. Again, Brown. Again.
Right.
Again. Maybe
Major
not, but
assumptions.
also,
Yeah.
like, this is the thing, too. Like, British people think they could outdrink Americans, and they don't understand that it's because their beer is 3%.
Right.
Um, we don't need to
And
get into
that's
that right now, but
no, no. And that's sorry. Did did they say the slope was covered in dark? Was that the
yeah, I think
that what a weird
that's such a weird way to say it was
that's
dark
turn
outside.
of
Yeah,
phrase, right? Like maybe it,
obviously, when
or
we
maybe
all
weird.
assume Sasquatch has night vision, right? Because everything but humans has dark vision, as we both know.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And even then, you just need to get a
Yeah. I
magic
don't know.
belt or whatever the fuck, and you're good.
Hmm.
His Bigfoot encounter and others in the South Downs were shared by the BBR, Cryptid, and Paranormal Investigations. What do you think this is? Do you think this is a government agency? Do you think this is a corporation? Do you think this is a 501c3? What's your guess here?
Oh man. Well, I think it's. I mean, I think it's like a multinational
It's so much more
organization.
reputable than
It's
that.
like
It is
right.
multinational. It's multinational because it is attached. You could say it's a wing of one of the most successful multinational corporations in the world. It's a
Hmm.
Facebook group.
Oh man. Yeah. No, that's legit. You can't get much
Another
more
U-
legit than that.
Another UK Bigfoot witness, Michael Brindle, star of the Boy Bible series of documentary films, reported that while fishing one day, he, quote unquote, was dozing on his chair. I'm saying my chair
Okay.
because I'm reading the quote, just to be clear.
It's a
I
quote.
am not
Yeah.
claiming ownership over Michael
Mhm.
Brindle's chair, so don't
Mhm.
sue me. And just to be clear, he was not in Boy Bible. That was Michael Brundle. He
Okay.
was dozing on my chair next to the rods from Boy Bible when I was
No.
awoken by a loud growl from the opposite bank and saw something large running on what I think was two legs on the
Mhm.
opposite bank in the darkness. And there's no way he was hammered because he said what he thinks was two legs. Nobody
Right.
was hammered would ever
Uh-huh.
say, I
Would
think
think
he had two
I think
legs.
right. Right. No, not at all. Right.
I think it was two legs is the funniest fucking sentence I have ever heard in my goddamn life.
Right. Well, that's a good reminder. Last episode where we talked about Bigfoot hunting, and that's why that's frowned upon. You think he has two legs? Yeah,
You
don't
think he
don't
has
shoot at
two
anything you
legs?
think has two legs. Yeah.
And especially don't shoot anything you think has three legs.
Right. Yeah, that would be something.
Last year, a man named Lee Brickley claims to have found Bigfoot tracks and claw marks after a decade searching for the creature in Cannock Chase in Staffordshire, England. So that's a
Mm,
lot of commitment because you spent
right.
9.999 years just finding jack shit and coming back
Right.
every
Right.
goddamn day with the same
I
shit.
found a claw mark. That
You
is
know what?
wild. What?
You know what we call this? You know what we call this, Jason? A gambling addiction.
I was thinking like that is a long time to like what sustains someone if
Oh man,
I
that
just
is
can't
fucking
imagine that and to find like nothing or
Mr.
I don't know.
Brickley. I don't know if you listened to the beginning of the show or if you just skipped forward to this point because I know you have access to advanced AI that would isolate me
Right.
saying your name even without a transcript. Uh, but we recently had a guest slot open up, so come on the
Hmm.
show, talk about your
Yeah, actually
Bigfoot
yeah.
search in Cannock
Right.
Chase.
Right.
Anyway, this is a quote from Mr. Brickley. Mr. Brickley. And I wouldn't want to
How many
offend him,
limbs
so
do you
I
think it had? Yeah.
yeah. I haven't done a British accent for anyone else before, like especially an exaggerated one, and I wouldn't want to offend a future guest, so I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
was astounded by
Okay.
gosh, governor. I've never
Mhm.
seen a footprint that large in me wife, and it was queerly
Mm.
not made using a mould or a cast. That is probably the moment I realized the Cannock Chase Bigfoot was more than just a myth, he said, according to The Mirror, one of our favorite paranormal sources. I know what you're
Mhm.
talking about. What about the
Yeah.
Cannock Chase Bigfoot? So Brickley, who recently published a book on Bigfoot, also
Okay.
claims to have seen the creature while doing research. I can't say for
Hmm.
sure what it was, as it was around 7 p.m. and getting dark, and the figure was covered in shadow. It definitely
Mhm.
moved more like an animal than a man, and it was easily 7 feet tall. I tried to run after it,
Mm.
but it was too quick and disappeared into a dense section of trees. So I know what you're thinking,
Mm.
Jason.
Yeah.
Cannock Chase Bigfoot, I've never heard of that, right?
No. Mhm.
So
Mm-mm.
here's the thing. I actually looked this up on Wikipedia. This is in Cannock Chase in the UK. It's a
Okay.
mixed area, which I don't know what that means, of the
Right.
countryside in the
Hope
county
that's
of.
not problematic.
I don't think that means what it does in the US. I don't think that means what it does in the
No,
US.
like mixed zoned, whatever. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
it means Irish are allowed to live
Maybe,
there.
maybe let's cut this part out.
Do we have to?
No, no, no.
Okay,
We
I was gonna
don't.
say if we actually have to cut it out. Oh man.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, it's mixed in the UK.
yes.
Mix
So
it in the UK.
yeah, so it's also been designated as the Cannock Chase Area of Outstanding Natural Beauty. And it's
Oh,
managed by
hmm.
Forestry England. But since the 1970s, this place has been the place of a number of paranormal phenomena. This is just from Wikipedia. I haven't particularly gone in depth on this,
Hmm.
including black-eyed kids, black dogs,
Hmm.
werewolves, British big cats, UFOs,
Hmm.
and yes, Bigfoot. And again, I'm using Bigfoot because presumably this
Hmm.
would not be a Sasquatch.
Right.
However, no fairies,
Mm.
interestingly enough, given that this is the
Yeah.
UK.
Right. Yeah. But a pretty healthy selection of
Yeah,
I don't know
a
if cryptids is
smorgasbord.
necessarily the
You
right
know,
word, but yeah.
cryptids, paranormal phenomena, maybe
Yeah.
panpsychic phenomena, if you consider the
Hmm.
interdimensional hypothesis that we've talked about a few times.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
there's some shit that happens there. The UK is a spooky country. They don't
It
have
is.
guns, but people can fucking haunt you.
Hmm. It does seem very spooky. Very very a very high spooks per capita ratio. Um yeah, that, that's interesting. I guess what stands out to me in this testimony is that moved like an animal, right? But presumably is bipedal. I guess I don't see
Yeah, because
how
even like a gorilla or a chimp, kind of still walks around on all fours or like squats and such.
right. Like if they need to haul ass, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
that could be
Yeah, man.
it could be
Like it could be
Bigfoot
a
behavior.
chimp, could be a
Yeah.
Bigfoot, could be a bonobo. People don't consider escaped zoo animals as a possibility enough in these cases, I don't think. I've thought about this a lot,
No.
and I really
Yeah.
do think that, there could be escaped zoo animals, especially in the US with, like, private zoos and shit.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Uh, all which is to say, check out that shit as well. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's only a
No, it's cool.
fascinating
Yeah.
story, another
Mhm.
cryptid hotspot.
Yeah.
If any of you, and any of our UK listeners, if you have any experience with Cannock Chase in one way or another, let
Mhm.
us know.
Cannock
Underworld News
Chase, okay.
Tonight at gmail.com. We would definitely like to hear about that. Jason,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got a paranormal story for us. Something that harkens back to a topic covered in one of the early episodes of UNT, I believe.
It certainly does. This comes to us from News 9, uh, quoting Reuters. News 9, news station out of India,
Okay.
apparently. So, uh, yeah, we had talked about. So, for context, yeah, one of our earliest stories we covered was about someone testifying before the Mexican Congress as
Yeah,
to
Jaime
the
Maussan.
existence of Jaime Maussan, about the existence of extraterrestrials
Yeah,
on Earth.
mummified aliens.
Exactly, saying that they had recovered mummified aliens from the Nazca region of Peru, and submitting that as evidence of the existence of extraterrestrials. Uh, and I believe at the time we made the bold stance of claiming that Mr. Masan may have been engaging in perhaps some grave robbing.
Yeah, there may
Right?
have
I
been some
believe that
like
was the term that we used.
I think at the very least, whether they were human or not, I got to be careful not to post this part to TikTok. So I just put my feet up on the camera, and that shit's not free. Uh, the Whether the alien bodies had been found or not, this man at the very least did admit to just digging up some bodies and bringing them to another country. So that
Exactly.
you're not like that is like frowned upon.
Yes. And that brings us to today's story. I just wanted to pat ourselves on the back a little bit, and who knows, maybe we've inspired in some small way this Peru's battle against artifact trafficking intensifies amidst UFO mummy controversy.
Yeah, and this is in the broader sense why we would never enable any sort of misinformation, and it's also why we won that
Exactly,
Pulitzer.
that's exactly right. Um, yeah, so maybe maybe officials in Peru heard our story and thought we got to do something about this shit.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
no, they. I think that we get a lot of listeners all the time who say, "Hey, I'm a legislature minority leader in Peru.
huh.
Hola.
Right.
What do we do about this alien thing?" And you reach out and you say, "Give it back and knock it
Hmm.
off."
Yeah. Um, yeah. So the Nazca, Peru, as we had mentioned before, famous for the Nazca lines. Do you want to give a brief description of what
So
the
the Nazca
Nazca lines are,
mummies.
or the
I'll leave you a
lines?
brief. The lines, no.
Okay. In that so that region of Peru, it's a high desert known for enormous etchings in the desert, surface of the desert. Like you would have to be to make, yeah, things like birds, animals, complicated patterns that you can't see from the ground level.
Right.
Like you would have to be elevated to see the entire bird.
Th- That that
Um,
that that's actually what I was about to say. If you'd let me finish, I would have said no. I was gonna
I'm
say
sorry.
no. I was
Yeah,
gonna. I could totally tell you what it is. There's like etchings and shit with the birds and the lines
yeah,
and
yeah.
the desert. It's a high desert and
It
it has a
is.
lot of
Yeah,
etchings.
yeah.
It's all
No,
etched
and
up.
and I apologize for stepping on for jumping in there and having an answer for you. It's something I'm working on
Yeah,
with my therapist, and I
for
yeah, I
sure.
appreciate
Yeah,
your
no, I know.
patience
I
with
would never, because
yeah.
I'd never do that to you on this
No,
show or
yeah,
in life.
yeah. Very yes, always very respectful and
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
anyway,
the
yeah,
article
there
here,
are etchings, also a lot of dead aliens.
well, not, there are etchings, yes. There are also, human remains. It is a desert, so, uh, bodies are sort of naturally preserved. You
That's
know,
true.
indigenous folks have lived there,
Yeah. So, and if
for
you guys
thousands
don't
of
know about this,
years,
by the
so.
way, because I know we have listeners who live in all sorts of climates. If you don't understand how that works with the desert, if you've had beef jerky,
Mhm.
it's like that,
It's very similar. It's a ve
or fruit
yes,
by the
it's,
foot.
that's actually, yeah. Yeah, any yeah. They're that's very similar. Does not taste the same though, so I don't recommend trying to figure
Tastes
that
about the
out.
same as fruit by the foot.
I don't know if I've ever had fruit by the foot. Just seeing it, I thought like not for me. Um,
That it is too much. It's too much fruit. I need fruit as an adult.
not for
I
me.
need fruit by the 4 inches.
I guess when I was a kid, fruit roll-ups were a big thing.
Well,
Were
fruit
they
by the
still
foot
big?
was the
Like,
more extreme.
was
Yeah, fruit
kind of
roll up and
the
fruit by the foot were the competing
right,
brands, and fruit roll up
right,
was the
fruit,
classic, and then fruit by the foot. I think they were about the
right.
same size though, right? Like was
I
fruit
I
by the foot
honestly
actually
don't know.
bigger? I don't know, man. I haven't had either one
Well,
in
it's by
ages.
the foot. I don't think a fruit roll up is a foot long. I think a
If you
fruit
rolled it
roll
all
up
the
is
way
like
out,
4 inches or something. Well, but it's
no,
not.
there's if
Like,
you roll it all the way out,
I don't think they're that big.
man.
I don't know.
All right, we don't need
I
to get
never
into
liked
this
those
right
either.
now.
So
The people of Peru are having their corpses
no,
stolen,
you're
Jason. It's
right. This
really
is
bad
actually
taste for
this
you
is
and I to start
yes.
debating the size of
You're right.
confections for
No, this is
children in the 1990s when there
this
are people who died in 3001 BCE whose
yeah,
bodies are in Mexico because they had a fucked up forehead.
right. No, you're right. This is kind of a kind of
How fucking
I
dare
don't know if
you?
sad, but yeah, it's kind of this is kind of an enraging
I think when you've been
situation.
dead for a long enough, it's enraging. It's not sad because when you've been dead for a long enough time, it like isn't sad anymore. That whatever. But like it's enraging in the sense like the lot. Why isn't lots of cultural
Well, it's
artifacts? It's sad,
yes, yeah,
but
right, right. And the sort of disrespect, like
yeah.
like the indifference to yeah, like culture, yeah, other people's like beliefs and values and spoiler alert, we'll get to this in the case of the like quote aliens, uh obviously like someone found these bodies and then fucked with them to make them look like aliens.
Or 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 Jason,
Or okay.
they were dead aliens and they just kind of mixed them in with the dead bodies because aliens
I
had
think
equal rights in ancient Peru.
no, no, no.
Yeah, we have to consider both
I
possibilities equally now.
I guess no, I guess that's true. Both sides. Um, no, I guess what I mean is that upon examination of today of bodies recovered from the area that are claimed to be extraterrestrials by virtue of having three fingers, elongated foreheads, they have been recently, like since the person is deceased, manipulated to give them elongated foreheads and three fingers.
Yeah.
Um, this has been a problem actually for a while. Uh, it's I guess not like the article says that that area, except for some signs, you know, hey, this is like cultural. You know, you'll find cultural artifacts here. Please be respectful. There's not really any mean. There's nothing there to stop people from helping themselves to whatever they come
Having
across.
signs aren't signs one of the most effective deterrents for grave robbing.
For yeah, please don't rob this grave. Um,
Hey, knock it
yeah,
off.
so yeah, so for a long time, you know, bodies have been bodies smuggled from Peru have turned up all over the globe. Um, originally, or actually, the problem, according to this article, got worse during COVID. Um, it sounds like
How?
uh, it sounds like prior to COVID, these the transfer of these like bodies and artifacts were held at sort of vaguely eyes wide shut esque like gatherings of elite people that you had to, someone had to vouch for you, and you would get invited, and you'd go in person.
Wait, and then they
Um,
fuck?
no, well, I don't probably, but they would, as pertains to this story, they would buy themselves some human remains or any other sort of cultural artifact. I can only assume they fucked. I mean, if you travel all that
I think
way
you have
and
to
you're an elite,
once you
right?
buy a
Yeah, you're
body,
fucking.
you
Yeah,
gotta elites
you're
fuck. That's
fucking.
the
Yeah.
thing.
No,
Or
right.
maybe they don't fuck because they're focused on their money. But either way, you know what I have to say about this
Or they fuck
story
their
is
money.
that
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the robbery of Peruvian cultural heritage is horrible. And I think that
Yeah.
to make this right, to be ethical, listen, I don't condone
Hmm.
any sort of fraud, but if you're faking a UFO, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, you gotta grave rob a white guy for once.
Exactly. No, thank you. Thanks for finally saying that out loud.
Of course.
Um, no, but then after COVID, or COVID hit, a lot of travel restrictions. You couldn't meet. Uh, things took off online, so now you can just buy, I guess, a mummified Peruvian skeleton on Craigslist or whatever, the dark web. You don't have to go and
But
actually
that
meet
would be
anyone or do
wrong to
anything.
do, right? That would be the
That
point in
would
this
be
article is
wrong.
that would be wrong. Okay, so
That
it
would
would
be
be
wrong.
bad. It would be like bad for me to buy one and use it for the show in any way. Like I should not.
Yeah, don't do
My
not.
wife
Yeah,
also wouldn't
don't.
like it. So
No,
yeah, I
don't.
guess I
Yeah,
shouldn't do it.
don't do that. Yeah, and also shrinking
Continue.
budgets. So the Peru's culture ministry, who polices this kind of thing, is kind of understaffed. Uh,
Doing a great job.
they found, but yeah, like human skull turned up. Was found by DHL shipping company employees that was being shipped from Peru. A dude,
What a weird fucking world Europe is where the shipping employees can be trusted.
I know. I actually I actually worked for that company, but in Ohio. I will verify firsthand. Don't they're not to be trusted.
Imagine the I would assume that DHL is like planting skulls.
Oh.
Not in this
I don't.
case. Not in
Maybe
this case.
no.
Not in
This
this
case,
case.
yeah.
In
Um,
general, DHL in America will plant a skull just to see what
right,
happens.
right, right. Kind of like
Can
the
they sue
Joker,
me for
just
saying that?
chaos.
Allegedly, according to some podcast hosts.
Uh, I mean, they probably could, but
Will they?
uh,
DHL, if you're
no, they
listening,
won't.
please don't sue
They won't.
me.
They're not listening.
Underworld News Tonight at gmail.com.
They're not listening. But just
Nobody is.
since we brought up DHL, the letters stand for the three friends made the company, and that stands for like each of their names. Um, Fascinatingly, one of them
Yeah,
just
three
like
friends.
literally vanished, like just disappeared off the face of the earth like 15 years ago.
Wow. Wait, when
like
did
like
DHL start?
oh shit. Uh, I didn't pay that much attention at
Yeah.
orientation. I think it was like the 80s, 70s or 80s.
Yeah, well, no, but I do remember you telling me about the three friends who started DHL: Dale, Lenny, and Hitler.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah, Hitler, they hadn't heard from him and you know, since the 40s.
Yeah,
But yeah, one
he
of the
said,
other two
guys,
just
I really want us to change this to DJL. I really prefer to go back to Jim these days. Please, please.
come on,
Like, I
please.
understand. I don't know if you guys have been reading the news, but there have been specific current events that I'm really trying
Right?
to.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, another mummified skeleton found in a motorcycle messenger's bag at the border. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, still going on. Um, but yeah, so I feel like we sort of called this. Um, you know, I also think so just as kind of a right, you're hunting for the remains of extraterrestrials on Earth, right?
Of course.
As we all are. Uh, part it it just seems obvious to me that like uh, I'll go to this place with huge markings on the ground, and they're just bodies laying here, or not laying here, but like I guess what I'm saying is part and parcel of like the UFO hypothesis as being, extraterrestrial spacecraft, and is the corollary that world governments are actively suppressing this, because otherwise, like, you can't explain why, like, there's not a lot of evidence. And world governments almost certainly know about the Nazca lines, where to find them, and what's there. So, like, that doesn't make any sense to
I
me that
assume
you
they at the
would.
very least know where to find them. Yeah, because like, you know where they are. I don't know where they are, but I didn't know shit. Um,
Well, Peru. But yeah.
Peru, yeah. Like, we're not living in the fucking age of discovery anymore,
No,
where people are
unfortunately.
like,
Well, no, probably not.
where the fuck is India?
Right. Well, right. But what I'm saying is, like, that if this, and obviously this is a grift, right? Like, people are stealing remains and uh uh fucking with them to make them look, like the sort of classic ET, and then passing those off as like real evidence of real extraterrestrials. So they obviously don't believe that. Like, like they're being cynical about it. Even if you did honestly believe that, like, I don't know, wouldn't uh wouldn't you also believe that, like, some world government would get there first and either have taken control of the area or removed anything? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make
Yeah, for
sense to
sure.
think that like the government will, you know, gr- seize people's cameras, who've taken photos of
Well,
UFOs, but then
maybe
leave
that's
like
why it's
huge caches of them.
maybe that's why it's quote unquote a crime to quote unquote grave rob.
Oh, like that's the reason. It's not the
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not the like, yeah, gross insensitivity to, humanity or concern for people's cultural heritage or spiritual beliefs. It's just, we'll make a blanket assumption that that graves contain extraterrestrials, and just blanket make it all.
I will make a blanket assumption. I will make a pillow assumption. I will make a fucking comforter assumption. Whatever the fuck it
It's
takes.
bold. It's bold assumptions.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there we are. Please don't grave rob in your hunt for the truth.
Yeah, and if you're gonna send us some alien corpses, you'd better find them from another country. Might I suggest Poland. Still starts the no, not Poland. Definitely not Poland.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that
No,
either.
please not Poland. Please not Poland.
No,
Fuck,
do
I was
that.
just thinking of another country that starts with P. No. Portugal? Yeah, Portugal's probably all right.
You can grave rob in Portugal.
I think it's legal. I think they legalized it last year.
I think it's required.
I think it's how you get
It's like a rite of
citizenship in Portugal. It's how you get
passage.
Portuguese citizenship. Yeah,
Yep.
you gotta grave rob to show you're not a little bitch.
Yep.
Oh man. Anyway, we are gonna take a quick break to check out our local cemeteries, and then we will be right back with some
Where'd
more
that
stories.
leave that shovel somewhere? I don't follow like the news or internet trends or like
Mhm.
really any sort of events, outside of what I can immediately see or hear at all.
Mhm.
But it doesn't. I get the sense that there's like been kind of an uptick in like podcasters and influencers being kind of exposed as grifters. Like,
I
people,
think
I mean, there are some that always sort of were, but people that otherwise were maybe kind of sort of trusted, or like now, like,
do you think of
find
any
out,
big
oh, well,
big
they're doing
examples
this.
lately?
Isn't there
I know there's been the AI
there's
thing of like a bunch of people, like AI content forums.
I guess I'm thinking of wasn't there like a fitness podcaster or like health
There was Andrew
like a
Huberman,
doc
but he was just
that's him.
exposed for fucking
That's
a
him.
lot. He was so here's
Right.
the thing, I have mixed feelings about him
But
because he wasn't great, but also like the thing is he marketed like his productivity nootropics, and if you looked at his affair schedule, like they seem to be working, you know?
right. Well, that's the thing. Like it I think th- maybe it's well the affair thing I think is not great to a lot of people. For me, and again, as someone who didn't know who he was, it's more the like pushing, maybe questionable supplements or which that's kind of it seems like where it ends up, right? Or like your
Yeah.
daytime talk show host that maybe had a good couple year run, and then you notice more and more like they're on their show advocating to eat blueberries to cure your diabetes or whatever bullshit.
You're talking about
um
Dr. Oz?
yeah, well, yeah, I don't want to name names, but yeah, Dr. Oz,
I mean, I don't know
or
if this
your
is going to be in the
your
show.
Dr. Phil, or it can be, I don't care.
Yeah, it can be in the show. Yeah.
um
We might as
but
well
but
just let them know that we just left me to shove a granola bar in my face and grab another beer.
right. But what I guess I have mixed feelings because I feel like I haven't even really had the chance to get my grift off the ground.
No,
And
man, we need to
now
fucking
like
do it for real.
now people are getting like outed for it, so because you have to
The
have
thing I never understood
some
about some of Dr. Oz's grifts is he would do like, like using blueberries to cure your fucking diseases, or right?
or
I didn't
whatever, yeah.
realize the blueberry industry was that organized for there to be like blueberry misinformation, you know?
Hmm.
That's what makes it so insidious. Is that it's not like, it's easier to catch these people who are like, buy my brand of supplement. And then you're like, okay, that's
Right,
obviously bullshit,
right.
right?
Hmm.
Or like these people who like, I think it was Big Joel, I don't know if you know the YouTuber Big Joel. I don't know if any of this is going to be in the episode or not, but like
That's fine.
the YouTuber Big Joel, he made this point in a video recently about Joey Saladino, I think, or Paul Saladino, who's like a
Okay.
fitness influencer, and he's one of
Yeah, yeah.
these like
Uh-huh.
raw organ meat guys. You know those guys who
Yeah,
eat a
yeah,
lot of raw
yeah.
organ meat on
I
camera.
do. Yeah.
Uh, but then he markets these like supplements where he gives you your raw organ meat in pill form. But then he makes the
Hmm.
point in the video, or this isn't the main thing about the video, but he just makes the point. He's like, if this guy believed in like this guy believes in eating raw organ meat, so then why the fuck is he offering a pill? Clearly, he talks sometimes in
Right.
the video
Just
about how
eat
raw
the
organ meat
yeah.
tastes like ass. Like, so, like, presumably he
Right.
does this because he's like, this is what you got to eat. So then, like,
This
why are you eating
right.
this fucking pill? Yeah.
Right. He could be taking the
And
pills.
you think we'd be
Yeah.
better podcasters if I ate more raw organ meat?
What is there like what organs specifically? I guess it depends.
He eats a lot of liver.
Mm,
He freezes the liver before he eats it because he said it makes it tastes better. He said the texture is weird and gelatinous. But gefilte fish is one of my
okay.
favorite seasonal foods, so maybe I'd like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, who knows?
I like chopped liver, but I don't think that counts. I don't think Paul Saladino would say like chopped liver on a cracker
Right.
counts.
But
Um,
not like the small intestine or
I don't know if he
um
eats the small intestine. That's the dick, right? That's the
w-
dick tubing.
no. No, that's the poop tubing.
That's the poop tubing. What's the large intestine?
It's part of the poop tubing too.
Okay,
They're all the same system.
okay. For some reason, I thought
The
your intestines had something to do with your dick as well. I thought the large intestine was the butt and the small intestine was the dick.
no. I'm sorry you've been misinformed. No.
You
It's
learn
all
something new every day.
yeah. I think they're different cuz they have slightly different functions. Like they all but it doesn't matter. No, but like liver, I guess like it could be gross and too much I'm sure isn't great. But I guess you don't there's not like communicable diseases or that's what I'd worry about more is like parasites or like I'm sure
I
there
think
is like it's
I think that
nutrient
you can
dense, I'm
eat
sure, but
the cheapest liver that you can find, and it's good for you. Like, seriously, like, when you
mhm,
go to the supermarket and you see organ meat that's been marked down for quick sale, jump on
mhm.
that shit right away.
Okay.
That's the one bit of advice that
Okay.
I would give every listener.
Got it. And don't cook it, right? It has to be raw. Is that
No,
what
it's
that
gotta
what
be
this
raw.
guy's
You gotta
saying?
raw
Okay.
dog it. You gotta freeze it and then cut it into little
Freeze
cubes,
it.
and then it's extra raw.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's
Uh,
fine. Go for it. Yeah.
anyway, speaking of science, this next story, it is from the mirror.co.uk.
Hmm.
Humans are on the verge of confirming existence of ghosts after spooky breakthrough. A
Oh.
spooky breakthrough, of course, being what I've been working towards in therapy every 2 weeks.
Right. Yep.
Now this is Sam Parnia, um, not
Hmm.
related to the director of the Chronicles of Parnia series, which is a series about what happens when four college boys have to chase their friend into a very tight wardrobe. Uh,
Right.
Sam Parnia
Ugh.
is an expert in near-death experiences, and he
Mhm.
thinks we will soon find out what happens after death.
Oh man.
But he
Well,
reckons.
I think that's true in a very general sense. I think all of us are going to figure out what happens after death.
But he reckons, Jason, when we die, our consciousness does not cease to exist after we depart from this world. The
Okay,
story is written by Graeme, Graeme. How do you think you pronounce that?
man, I don't know. Grammy,
Graeme
Grammy.
Murray and Dominic Lemansky. This was a
Okay,
two-reporter job.
hell yeah. Well, it's
Humans
ghost
are
proof of ghosts. Yeah.
proof of ghosts. Humans are reportedly on the verge of confirming the existence of ghosts in a spooky breakthrough that could change life and death
Hmm.
as we know it. Some
Mm,
scientists, it's good information when it starts with some,
some
believe that
right.
the discovery we all live on after death as spirits is plausible. Sam Parnia, an expert on near-death experiences, reckons we will soon find out the mystery of what happens after we die. His
Hmm.
belief comes after studying those who have had cardiac arrests and claim to have
Okay.
experienced light at the end of the tunnel moments.
Hmm.
The expert believes our consciousness is not part of our proper brain and does not cease to exist when we die. The
Okay.
Daily Star reports he said, I think in 50 or 100 years' times, we will have discovered the entity that is consciousness. It will be taken for granted that it wasn't produced by the brain and it doesn't die when you die.
Hmm.
Parnia believes that patients could have conscious awareness even after they are clinically dead. This sounds like a fucking nightmare.
It does actually. No, thank you. I don't
What are
want
you? So you
that.
get to live on and watch your kids fuck.
Well, I imagine for me it would be
Yeah, you don't
live
have
on
children. What are you even gonna do?
and I would just watch my mortal form decompose into
Well, you know
nothingness
what,
in a
Jason,
box. I can't think of
and
a
Jason,
worse hell.
Jason, before, yeah, you'll need to think of someone else to watch fuck because it can't be your kids.
No, that's true. That's not I mean, honestly, with the internet these days, that's not that big of a challenge.
If you die young enough, you could watch your parents fuck.
No, I don't wanna do that.
I'll watch your parents fuck if I die young enough.
Okay. Please do.
And then I'll send you a report back.
Okay. Out of wait, so you're dead, how would so I have to buy, like, what, a Ouija board, or how would you cross that
I'll
barrier?
Casper around. I'll get to your parents' house. I'll watch them
Gotcha.
fuck. I'll take
Okay.
note of tempo, thrust,
Uh-huh. Mhm.
vigor, uh,
Uh-huh.
vocalization. I will
Nope,
time
yeah,
it.
don't skip that. Mhm.
Yeah, I'll make sure to let you know the
Mhm.
frequency because I'll have an alarm set up made. I'll talk to
Sure.
God and or Vishnu about that one.
May
I'll have an
maybe some
alarm set up
sketches.
made.
Some
Some sketches,
sketches.
something, yeah. Well, I don't. I guess. Do you think I'll just become good at drawing as a ghost?
I don't know. If you look at, like, scientists back in the day, before we had cameras, they were all pretty good artists, like, they had to draw.
That's true. Yeah,
Like
I know.
Darwin, we don't think of him as an artist, but, like, these guys
Yeah,
could
and then
draw.
we stopped beating left-handed kids.
I know, and the world's just gone to hell since then.
I know, for real. Anyway,
Yeah,
uh,
please.
other scientists say the same. Lance Becker has been a leader in resuscitation science for more than 30 years. In
Mm,
2019, a British woman named Audrey Showman, who was caught in a snowstorm, spent 6 hours in cardiac arrest before doctors brought her
yeah.
back to life with no apparent brain damage. You think if you spend long
Wow.
enough having a heart attack, like if you're having a consistent heart attack, 'cause people have these heart attacks for like hours, sometimes days. Like I
Yeah.
think like fucking who was it? One of these fucking not Bruce Springsteen, not a good one. One of these fucking Heartland rock singers. John Mellencamp had a heart attack
Mm,
for like 5 days. You think at that
yeah.
point the heart attack is just the only thing keeping you alive?
I don't know. I don't
Just
even
you
know what
stay
that
alive just to
means.
keep the like you're because when you have a heart attack, if it's not like a hardcore one where it's all
Right,
happening at
right.
once, it's usually like you feel like sick and exhausted and you have some chest pain.
Yeah.
Like
Ugh.
a lot of people don't
5 days.
realize they're having a heart attack.
Yeah. No, I guess
I
that's
don't know if it
true.
was 5 days off the top of my head. I don't know exactly how long his heart attack was. That would be a HIPAA violation. But
No, you're right. Yeah.
but
And thank
I
you.
think it
Yeah.
was like some ridiculous amount of
Respecting
time.
that.
I just want to be
Yeah.
clear too. Yeah, I would
Right.
not
Divulge.
hack John Mellencamp's medical information. I have
No. No.
tried to hack Billy Joel's before, but I
Of
did my
course.
community service for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Uh,
anyway, doctors
sure.
brought her back to life
Sorry.
with no apparent brain damage. Becker
Okay.
said, I don't think there's ever been a more exciting time for the field. We're discovering new drugs, we're discovering new devices, and we're discovering new things about the brain. And, interestingly enough, discovering new drugs, discovering new devices, and discovering new things about the brain actually also
Mhm.
describes my college experience, and that was kind of a mixed
Uh-huh.
bag.
I was kind of waiting for that. Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. No. Wow. So, is there more? Is that the
There is more,
rest of
Jason.
it?
There
Oh
is
yeah,
more.
please. Yeah, please. Yeah, because
I was
I
giving
don't
you a
think I've
moment to
heard.
compose because you said
Yes,
wow,
I
and
was.
I wanted to give you a moment. Your views on
No.
death are being
Yeah.
changed here, Jason. I need to give you space to
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
process.
No, and I
Uh,
appreciate that.
yeah, in the
Yeah, because
2021, your time to process has ended, Jason.
okay,
Have
2021.
you
Yeah,
processed yet? Have you fucking processed?
as good as it's gonna get.
All right, great. Well, get ready to
Let's
watch
push
your
it
parents
down.
fuck.
Push
In the
it. Push it down.
2021 Netflix documentary called "Surviving Death," several
Hmm.
prominent
Sure.
parapsychologists. You know all the
Mm,
prominent parapsychologists.
all of
We
them.
don't even have to start naming them.
Right. That's just common knowledge.
Yeah,
Right. It would be
I think
insulting to our audience if I were to name one.
Jeff Dunham,
I think,
several prominent parapsychologists
I think
uh,
you're right.
argued why they believed near-death experiences showed consciousness exists independently of the brain. Bruce
Hmm.
Grayson, an expert in near-death studies, said, "When the heart stops within 20 seconds or so, you get
Hmm.
flatlining, which means no brain activity." I'm gonna butcher this guy's name, and he's from the University of Michigan. Jimo Borjigin, a professor of neurology at the University of Michigan. The test of whether or not you've had a stroke is if you could say his name successfully.
Hmm. No,
Also
yeah,
reckons
you
studies
passed.
should. Also,
Good
great.
job.
What does it mean that I've passed?
I can't tell you if you're having a heart attack or not, but uh, yeah, I can. If that's the criteria, you're stroke free. I think.
That is good to know.
Yeah.
Uh, or
All evidence to the
this whole
contrary
podcast
aside.
has been me having. If people could have a 5-day heart attack,
Right.
maybe I've been having a 6-month stroke.
Right.
Jim
Just
Borjigin, a
hallucinating this on my
professor.
deathbed.
Do you ever Have you ever gotten all right, maybe this is more of a conversation for my therapist. Have you ever gotten really high and convinced yourself that maybe you actually already have Alzheimer's and are just reflecting on things that already happened?
Kind of. Honestly, yes. I not maybe that specifically, but I do think about like the various circumstances that could be occurring that are making me believe like that what I'm doing now is what's real, and really I'm like, you know, pinned under my overturned car on the side of the highway, like bleeding out, or in a hospital bed, or yeah, like I'm really 97 years old and like reflecting back on on my life. I do think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sometimes I'll just be like, man, what if this is all just an Alzheimer's hallucination?
Right. Yeah.
Then I think I would spend
I don't
less
know.
time shitting on the toilet, though. I think I'd use the adult diaper more. That's the thing. I don't have an adult diaper yet. That's how I know. I
Like
think that
if you knew that's
my
if
Alzheimer's
you
delusion, I am going to somehow work in this idea of like adult diapers are the norm now. It's the new sexy
right.
thing.
I was gonna say if you knew that was your ultimate destination, maybe you'd be more comfortable just embracing it instead of putting it off.
For real. All right, so Gmo
Oh,
Borgigan,
wait.
who is a woman, because she said, I know you think that only a man can be Gmo Borgigan, Jason. You fucking misogynist pig.
I know.
I want to be clear. Gmo Borgigan is a woman.
Wait, and a doctor?
And a doctor. I can't operate on this patient. He's my son.
Well, yeah, that's what, neuroscientists, right? I would hope they're not operating on anybody. I
Hey,
think that's
man.
something different.
Hey, man, I would rather have a neuroscientist operate on me than, I don't know, you.
I was going to say certainly more than like someone who has a doctorate in philosophy, right? You probably would go
Yeah.
with the
You
neuroscientist
don't
over
even have
the.
that. You have a bachelor's
I
in
know I
philosophy.
don't. Yeah, I completely wasted my life. That's why I'm,
Wasted your life. You have a podcast.
yeah. Well, I've
She
really
said,
struck it.
all right, sorry, continue.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. Nope. Go on.
You were talking over a woman because Gima Borgigan is a woman.
I
So I
know.
just wanted
I
to,
know.
yeah, we can't do
Yeah.
that. She she said, I believe what we found is only the tip of a vast iceberg. What's still beneath the surface is a full account of how the dying actually takes place. Because there's something happening there in the brain that makes no sense. According to
Mm.
surveys, 1 in
Mm-hmm.
10 people claim to have had a
Mm-hmm.
near death experience involving cardiac arrest or a similar event. That seems way too high, right? Because I know more than 10 people.
Yeah.
That seems absurdly fucking high. That can't be right. Oh, what was this
Right.
fucking survey? That's insane. There's
Yeah.
no way. I would never doubt the mirror, but 1 in 10
Right.
people claim to have had a near-death
Have a near
experience
death.
involving cardiac arrest or a similar event.
Right. Yeah. Ugh. I guess it depends on how they're defining. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of flaws in this study.
Have you ever met so you're claiming that if you know 20 people, have you ever met let's say you know 50 people. One of them is the type of person who has had that and never would shut the fuck up about it if this is true.
No,
Right?
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Unless
No, I
God tells you you're
think
an
that's fair.
asshole.
Right.
Man, that's
Yeah.
fucking
No, I don't
insane.
know anyone. Yeah. No.
According to survey, all right. So anyway, I said that.
Mhm.
That's roughly 800 million people worldwide who may have dipped a toe in the afterlife. The Mirror
Mhm.
reported about a woman who was clinically dead for over 14 minutes and says she saw a mountain range 30,000 times huger than Mount Everest in the afterlife.
Wow. These are
And
oddly
what do you
specific.
yeah, what do you learn from that, Jason? What the fuck am I supposed to do with that information?
Right. I'm sorry,
Rocks are big up here.
30,000 times bigger
I would like to see your
than
source
Mount
on that,
Everest.
ma'am. I doubt you've measured those mountains, number one. Number two, what
Right.
the fuck are you supposed to do with that information? Because you hear about these near death
Right.
experiences and these afterlife experiences. It's supposed to be like, go live life, warn people about climate change. And this is just like, we got some big rocks here.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's like useless.
Dr. Linda Kramer, another lady doctor, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
take notes. I know that you said before women can't be doctors, and I just
Mm-hmm.
want to be very clear that they can be and they should be.
Yeah.
On this month after Women's History Month, I think we can both acknowledge that.
Okay.
Every month to me is Women's History Month, by the way, because
Sure.
there's always been women in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Every month. Anyway, Dr. Linda Kramer was on her way to her bathroom before she quote unquote died in the early hours of the
Oh,
morning on May 2001. However, she claims her journey did not stop there and that she went to heaven during the time paramedics rushed to save her. Once resuscitated, she shared that she had seen an experience that felt 5 years long to her. According to an
oh,
interview with NDE Diary, do you think this is a medical journal, would you say?
oh, yeah, definitely.
It's
Yeah,
bigger than a medical journal, it's a YouTube
I
channel.
think so. Yeah, certainly more
Dr.
viewership.
Dr. Kramer claims she floated above paramedics working on her body before she explored the afterlife, where she could take
Hmm.
any form she chose.
hmm
That's the end of the article. It doesn't go on to explain what fucking form she took. But the thing,
Well,
the,
it
the
doesn't
takeaway
explain.
there is Dr. Kramer. Why didn't Dr. Kramer warn us what was going to happen in 6 months and 5 days?
And so she's just going to the bath and then died, right? Like they don't really give it. Like there's a lot of details missing from.
Yeah, she
She just dropped dead,
pulled, she
or
pulled. You know what we call that? The half Elvis.
right? Not quite there.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
no, you're right. Like
man,
there's
man,
nothing.
I don't. I gotta stop making these Elvis jokes. That's how I want to go out.
Fat and probably fucked up out of your mind on the toilet.
Yeah, man. 5 peanut butter
No,
and
that
bacon
sounds
sandwiches deep.
hell yeah. No,
3
no.
3 pill
So
bottles. 5 fucking steaks.
right, right. Just yeah.
Yeah, man. Anyway, but anyway, no.
Yeah, no, yeah. A lot of detail missing, I think, is the point. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, no. I'm beginning to. Maybe I need to watch the NDE Diary video on YouTube. But guys, I have a family. I have things going on in my life that I can't
Right.
watch all these
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it is. So basically, the core claim here is just that there is some
hmm
level of consciousness that continues after we die.
Sure. hmm
Um, I don't know enough about neuroscience to say anything about this, but I will say that 1 in 10 people have had a near death experience statistic that they tried to give me sounds fucking wild, and I do not
Yeah,
buy
that's
that.
way too much. Yeah.
That is
Um.
abjectly, there's
Yeah.
no fucking way.
Yeah. Uh. Well, in this, not to, and thank you for the article, and not to poop on it. Um.
Oh, please. It's the only way I'll be able to jerk off later.
this sounds this sounds sort of typical, right? Like this has been kind of the near death experience description my whole life. Like the article, the headline led me to believe that we were like on the verge of
I feel
that
like
maybe
I'd
there was
always
like
heard of
some new
like the God's
device
not
that
dead sort of bullshit, like
hmm,
like I would always heard of like the sort of bullshit of people having these near death
hmm,
experiences, and it's like and like people being like, oh, believe in God, like oh, it's me, Jesus. Hey, Kevin, go back to
yeah,
Iowa instead of like you know
hmm,
somebody being like, I just saw a bunch of fucking mountains and like there's some brain
yeah.
activity or whatever the fuck.
Well, I guess like the the like light at the end of the tunnel and the like
Oh yeah, that.
like seeing yourself like you're looking down on yourself, your body, or have been kind of consistent themes like my whole life when people talked about near death experiences. And this one also, it sounds, if unless I'm misunderstanding you, is specifically related to like
Yeah.
cardiac events that um which I mean, yeah, because like that's something that people do technically die and then come back from, as opposed to, I don't know, um like getting shot in the head or like as opposed to other ways people die. A cardiac arrest is a way that
Yeah.
people can reasonably like be resuscitated
Yeah, there
and
is
continue living life like
and well, there's also a dispute as to, and I mean, I know you majored in philosophy, so you probably know more about this than I do. Like, there are varying medical definitions of dead, and like,
Mhm.
the standard by which you're dead in a cardiac event and brought back to life is not. I think it's Harvard dead is the one where it's like you are like dead, 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 dead.
Right. No, I think that's right. um Yeah. Um. No, that is that
It's
is
like the
pretty cool.
Harvard Medical School. Let me look this up. I'm gonna fucking look up the Harvard Medical
Yeah.
School death
Um.
standard. I do think that's interesting enough to actually look up.
And I guess I'm also I'm thinking, keeping in mind, was it last episode we talked about
So
there
Harvard
was
death
some
is
oh, go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say Harvard death is brain death. It was proposed by Henry K. Beecher in 1968.
Okay.
Which would apply to comatose individuals who have no discernible central nervous system activity. So this would be somebody
I
who's really
gotcha.
being kept alive by machines only.
Right. That makes
And I
sense.
think I
And
think
also,
that's like accepted by even like these anti-euthanasia like religious
yeah,
organizations like the Catholic Church because they don't oppose like
I
pulling the plug. They oppose like
no.
which I still
Right.
disagree with. Like, but
Right.
like
No,
I
I
think you
think
should be
that's
able to
right.
inject whatever. But
And how many bands do you think are named Harvard Death in existence right now?
oh,
That's kind of a cool band name.
we should start it. I've been working on
Maybe
my death metal growl.
Harvard Death. Yeah.
Working on my death metal growl. Yeah, let me check it out.
Yeah, please.
Hold on, what should I growl about?
Um Bigfoot.
Several episodes ago, I learned a simple fact that Bigfoot ladies have big tits.
What do you think?
Well,
Are we
I
ready
think
to
that's
start the
good.
band?
I think actually, yeah, I think we are.
All
Harvard
right, great.
Death.
Harvard death.
No, I was saying, or I was thinking, last week we talked about, I think it was last week, you talked about what is panpsychism, the idea that well, I think it was the sun specifically, that the sun could be conscious.
The sun is conscious and it is watching Jason Strong masturbate right now. Put your hands on fucking camera.
I feel like there's, at this point, with all of the like sort of free floating consciousnesses and the spirits of deceased, and maybe ape beings from other dimensions or realities peeking in on us, that I feel like I probably do have a Super Bowl sized audience watching me every time I masturbate.
I mean, yeah, I'm in the.
It's got to be pretty crowded.
I've been working my stand up at the halftime show.
Yeah. Oh wow. I would have hoped for like Prince or something.
Yeah, when you well, R.I.P. No, but when you go get the belt,
Well, right, but they're dead. Yeah, they're all dead.
When you go get the belt, I'm working my tight five. I hide it to give myself more time.
Yeah.
You know what's fucked up about the sun being conscious though?
What's that?
And that's why I kept saying it's watching you masturbate. I know you guys think I'm joking, but
Right.
that Teletubby baby, time is linear. That is a horny 32-year-old now.
Right. Oh, that's true.
And his name is
Sean William Scott.
Yeah, yes, Sean William Scott. I think he's 32, right?
No, yeah, maybe 15 years ago.
We stuck the landing. No, I don't need to fucking lose it. Oh my god. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know it's again, like, this has been kind of the consistent sort of story about near-death experiences, at least during my lifetime. Is this consistent with, like, major, like, religious beliefs or faith traditions?
I think a lot of, I mean, like, I know in Judaism it's a lot, like, it doesn't really make a lot of specific claims about the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, I can't speak as much to other faith traditions. I would say that if you accept that, like, it's a central nervous system phenomenon or, like, a brain phenomenon, then it makes sense that it's going to be around whatever your culture is.
Sure.
So meaning that, like, even, like, two Christian people, like a Christian guy in America and a Christian guy in Africa are going to see very different things in their afterlife, you know? Just based on like
Yeah.
what the cultural
Yeah,
expression
absolutely.
of that religion looks like.
Yeah. Are you going to a toll booth? Are you counting out change? I hear like
Yeah,
coins.
I have these quarters on my desk that I'll end up fidgeting with if I'm not careful, so now I'm pushing them away from me.
Got it.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It. I'll say that if the afterlife consists of my disembodied spirit, uh, still just sort of hanging around Earth forever, that I don't know that doesn't seem like that
Cool, can
seems
you hang
pretty
out with other
shitty.
ghosts? Can you hang out with other ghosts? Can you hang out with other ghosts?
I guess that might be cool, but then
Here's what
wouldn't
I'm
it be
thinking.
crowded? Like, because there'd be so many
Well,
ghosts.
but like you know, you're assuming that you know it's not like you can transpose transparency through each other. You don't even need to worry about it hurting or anything. You get into all sorts of hijinks. I'm thinking me when I'm dead. It's gonna be me, Muhammad Ali,
Oh, that's a good one.
Kim Il Sung,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
and now it could be O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson, of course, the Juice, and Audrey Hepburn. Jackass
Good group.
remake.
Shit, that sounds pretty good, actually. No, it just doesn't. That just doesn't sound very appealing as like an afterlife. Is to just like hang out and watch things happen. And also now that I'm thinking about that, all right. So if because we've covered other ghost stories,
We sure
you
have.
know, like hauntings and ghosts moving shit around and causing mischief and beating the shit out of a
This is
pub
why they're
owner.
causing all this fucking mischief. It's so goddamn boring. Is that what you're gonna say?
Right. Well, partially, but also just numerically, right? Like we just keep adding to the global ghost population. Like ghosts don't go away, right? Is there like a ghost version of death, or do they somehow like
I don't
we're
think
just
so.
accumulating ghosts? So there's just going to be more and more and more of these like ghost attacks, just by virtue of the fact there's so many ghosts. Like statistically, if 1 in 50 ghosts is inclined to beat the shit out of a UK pub owner by hitting him on the head with a pipe in the basement, like the one story, you know, 1 in 50 does that. Man, we're just adding more and more. You know, that means every day we're adding more ghosts that are willing to beat the shit out of a UK pub owner.
And then
Do you
what
know what
does
I'm
that
saying?
say
Like,
about the society we're building? So much for the
this seems
tolerant
like an
left.
existential threat that we're just like we got to do something about these ghosts. We're
It
just
has
accumulating
gone
ghosts.
far enough. We do need the Ghostbusters, even though they what like sentence them to some sort of total annihilation, like Calvinist hell. At the end of the day, I think that we need Ernie Hudson to start doing that again.
I think so
Not in the
too.
new movies that I don't think. Have you seen any of the new Ghostbusters movies with Stranger Things kid?
No, kind of I
I
kind of
kind
want
of
to see
refuse.
the newer one.
The ice
The other
one?
one I don't know because it has the
That
original
seems
people too.
stupid as fuck. Well, the original people were in the previous one too. Ghostbusters
I,
Legacy. It just seems stupid to me to make like dramatic Ghostbusters
yeah.
movies.
Oh, is
I
it
don't know.
dramatic? I
I
thought it
think it's
was.
not like
I don't know.
dramatic. I think it's the way they market them is a little weird. It's a bit like treats Ghostbusters as like this legacy that needs to be honored in a way that I don't necessarily think it is.
I guess yeah. Oh, I don't know. I've seen the first two, and really I only remember the original. Like I have just the vaguest like I remember bits and pieces of the second one, but it made no impact on me at all. The first one, like I maybe I was the right age or whatever, but it really like is
Right.
something I really like latched onto and I watch over and over and over again throughout my life. But the second one, I just and of course the cartoon, the real Ghostbusters.
Real Ghostbusters. That's a good show. Um the Ghostbusters 2 I've never actually seen. That's the weird thing about Ghostbusters, though, is it is so iconic, really based on one movie, right?
Right. No,
Because you
I think
wouldn't
that's
be.
it. I think they've been coasting off the first movie.
Yeah, it's like an insanely good movie that they're still able to do that. We don't need to talk about how good Ghostbusters is.
I know.
This show isn't about two white guys talking about how Ghostbusters is, especially when I know Jason has less than 30 minutes left. Jason, why don't you take us home with a quick final story?
All right. This is from a small town publication. Probably not familiar with it. The New York Times.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Christopher F. Schutz reporting from Berlin.
Wait, I'm sorry. From the false advertising. First off, he should be reporting from the Bronx or Times Square.
Yeah, I don't know. It says he's in Berlin, and actually, the website is asking me to sign up for his feed so I can keep up to date on what's happening in Germany.
You guys won't believe this. I just ate a bratwurst.
I don't believe it.
Breaking news: top 10 beers.
Oh, right.
In Munich.
Yeah. What side of the road do we drive on? Can't remember. No.
Oh man.
Headline: A reverse art heist? Museum finds employees painting on its wall. This is in and I'm going to butcher this.
Well, I will say that it's really okay to butcher anything German when I'm the co-host.
Okay.
I think they've earned it.
I felt like maybe I'm going to get a pass on this one. Pinakothek der Moderne in Munich. That wasn't a very good German accent, but I'm not going to try it again. Fired a worker for hanging one of his own pieces in the modern art collection.
It's a crime to hang one of your own. I guess he didn't get arrested; he just got fired. I thought you couldn't fire people in Europe.
I guess you can if you're a art museum employee who's hanging up your own work, and I think you did get charged with something. I'll get to that here in a sec.
Ah, man.
Man,
these Germans really are authoritarian. Their reputation for that is well earned. It seems.
Well, I guess they take their art museums real fucking seriously.
Yeah, man.
Employee 51 was helping to install an architecture exhibit on philanthropy. That's all it says. Describes that. Now I'm trying to envision what an architecture exhibit on philanthropy would even look like.
It would look. It looks like a way to dodge taxes. It looks like it looks like a very clear. That is like an insanely like. Oh my god! I fucking hate the fine art world. I despise the fucking fine art world so much. It is so goddamn disgusting. We don't need to get into it.
Yeah. Museum spokeswoman Teen Neller is quoted as saying he was carrying tools. That's why he went totally unnoticed.
Teen Neller?
Is it Teen Neller,
the prequel to Old Yeller.
Uh-huh. I always love when we make fun of people's names. Museum spokeswoman, yeah. Carrying tools, that's why he went totally unnoticed. As a technician, he was able to move around all areas of the building outside of opening hours. He hung his artwork, which it doesn't describe. Maybe for obvious reasons, not to encourage other people. I don't know. I don't know why it wouldn't tell you what it is. Artwork is about 45 inches wide, 25 inches in length.
You know what else about 45 inches wide and 25 inches in length? Yeah, no, we don't. I am having severe trouble walking. It's been inflamed severely past the point of recognition over the last several months.
That cannot.
They're thinking it might need to be amputated, and I'm really trying to hold.
Dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm here for you if you need to talk or man.
Yeah, thank you. So you're saying I can have your penis then?
No. Oh, not the one currently, like, anatomically a part of me. You can have some of the other penises I have laying around the house.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to see, yeah, okay, it says it was not clear how long, the painting had gone unnoticed. Um, yeah, so museum fired him, banned him from the museum, and he was charged by police, uh, or he was, excuse me, at least investigated for property damage for drilling the holes uh, in the wall to hang up his artwork.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's you gotta use a command strip on that.
Right. Yeah. And okay. Also, in October, uh, a museum in Germany in Bonn, it was discovered someone else had hung their own artwork in an exhibition on identity and immigration, and that hung through the entire run of the exhibit, and was only discovered after it was being dismantled, and people found the painting and were like, "What's this doing here?"
Man.
That painting, the artist, of course, was fired. Lost his job, but he did manage to
Well,
sell the
are you a
painting
real
for
artist if you're
$4,000.
employed?
Right. Yeah. No, he sold it for $4,000.
Oh. And how much do you
Which
think
is
he would?
that
Well, I guess
something?
you probably make a lot monthly. Well, in Bonn, I don't
I
know
have
who's
no
going to
idea.
Bonn. I've never been to Germany.
I have no idea. No, I haven't either. That's kind of like my culture or where my family's from, so I should go. But no, I thought this was interesting. Because you and I think have expressed
I
maybe
thought your family was from Argentina.
no, just on my cousin's side. No, because we have expressed maybe a bit unhealthy fascination with like art heists. We've kind of talked about
Well, I mean,
art thefts and
just because
maybe
we're both
being sort
relatively
of
short
cool,
men, we're both short
right?
men who could like fit into a small crevice.
Like
We
right,
condense our
wiggle through a
bodies.
bit.
Yeah,
Right.
like, are you saying that your climbing experience, my
Mhm.
short stature and fast talking nature could get us
Right,
pretty far at any museum in the Denver
right.
or in the Denver area? Is that what you're saying? Or Beaver
Yeah,
Creek,
and
Ohio, more so. I bet
of course, yeah.
we could make a fucking killing in the Beaver Creek, Ohio Historical Society.
I think we could be pretty successful as art thieves in Beaver Creek, Ohio, in the sense that we could get away with stealing shit, not in any sort of financial sense.
Well, yeah, I
Um,
mean, we would, and you'd feel bad robbing Mr. Magoni's art class.
Actually, I wouldn't. I'd be completely fine with it.
Yeah,
Uh,
art teachers are usually the worst guys. Male art
um,
teachers, I do not trust a male art teacher, but we don't need to get into that.
uh, no, and as the museum spokeswoman pointed out, uh, if you're carrying tools, like we both look, we're both like um, white male presenting
At
guys.
least
We
that's
could,
how we appear.
yes, we put on a hard hat or reflective vest and carry some tools. We could probably walk into damn near anywhere we wanted to if we
I
just
don't look
acted like
natural
we
carrying
had.
tools, man. I do not look natural carrying tools. My
How
hands
about
around the tools. My hands are too soft. They're gonna say, man, that hammer looks way too buoyant in those palms, in those
how about
supple palms.
or I think also if you're dressed in sort of business casual, but carrying
That's
a
true.
clipboard and frowning and maybe having like a cell phone in a holster on your belt. I think you could identify yourself as some sort of inspector,
One
either
time in
from the government
college,
or corporate.
I was really high with a guy who was on the
Mhm.
swim team, and
Okay.
I was like, man, I could go for some pie. And he was like,
Mhm.
and like there were a bunch of us, and he was like, check this out, walk with me. And we go to the dining hall, and we walk
Mhm.
in, and he just grabs a whole pie, and he's like, just look like you need it, and like like just look like you know what you're doing. And he just walks out with this whole pie.
No, that's what I'm
So,
saying. Yeah,
man.
I think, yeah, I think we could make a go of it. But no, I thought it was interesting. I don't know. Good on him, I guess, for at least getting it up for a little bit, or getting his artwork up for a little bit. I don't know. I don't honestly. Outside of maybe 5 artists, I don't think I could. I couldn't tell you who's what or what. Like, I don't know. I would never be able to spot like the fake painting in an art museum amongst like others.
Oh, absolutely not. And I have, and I've been featured in the MoMA, in the Louvre,
Hmm.
in
Right.
the Guggenheim,
Uh-huh. What? Sorry.
which
What was your medium again? Remind me what your
uh,
medium was. Was it performance art or?
yes, it was performance art. Um, what I would do is I would every day I
Hmm.
would sit down on one of those empty benches. I
Hmm.
would stare at the art. I would read the newspaper. I would flip around to the comic section,
Hmm.
and it was an ongoing series called The Tragedy of Dagwood, where I would comment
Oh,
on whatever he was doing, and I would say,
sure.
"No, sir! Don't you know those sandwiches have too much cholesterol? Or it is what you saw in World War II that makes you crave the sweet embrace of cardiac arrest?"
Mm, poignant. Poignant.
Yeah, and then I would go to the cafe and kind of just, if any patron left like
Steal
half
a
a pretzel
pie.
behind or anything like that,
Okay.
I would leave that. I would take that, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. Oh, there's not really like there's not really a museum equivalent for like podcasts or
Oh, there is a
right.
museum equivalent for podcasts. It's called Divorce
Yeah.
Court.
Well, I'm wondering like, um, man, I could maybe like uh sneak into like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and put up a little exhibit about me. Well, no, but see, people would catch because
I
they'd be
bet
like,
you could
this guy isn't a
convince
rock star,
people.
but
All right, they kind of let anyone into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, though, man.
they
Like, I
do
don't
they
know. The
do
Rock and
well
Roll
they
Hall of Fame is
yeah,
such a joke.
it's kind of a yeah,
Like, at a certain point,
right.
I think podcasts are the most rock and roll thing there is.
Oh, totally.
It takes
I
a lot
definitely
to.
Mhm.
Yeah, it takes a lot to make jokes about the boy Bible.
Right. I definitely see that. Like for me, this definitely is kind of my equivalent of like a garage band,
Oh,
right?
totally.
Like we get together and do our best and
I'll like talk to people when I do stand up, and I'll kind of talk about this show. Is like, oh, this is where I get to go wild, because I have more
yeah,
than 5 minutes. So I have
right.
too little time on stage, and I have too much time.
Too much time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Oh man.
I guess in whatever future when they finally do get their shit together and open up a podcast museum or Hall of Fame, we can just sneak in and put up our. I'll wear a hard hat and you can carry a clipboard and they'll let us in and
Oh, totally. We'll
we
be
can
right there.
put up a little exhibit to ourselves and steal a pie on the way out.
I'm sure that when a podcast museum opens, we'll just be able to sponsor a booth for $100, like Squonkapalooza.
That's probably true. That sounds right. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys. So, was there a word to the story? I know we.
Oh no, that
All
was
right,
it.
great. All right, great. Well, thank you guys so much for
Yeah.
listening to
No,
this episode of
thanks for
Underworld
listening.
News Tonight. We appreciate you. We truly could not do this show without you. So
Hmm.
we appreciate it. Uh,
Absolutely.
if you like what we do, you can find my comedy clips, both stand up and just me making
Hmm.
little jokes around my house.
Hmm. Yeah.
At Andrew Michaels Comedy on Instagram,
Hmm.
TikTok, and YouTube. You
Hmm.
can also find Jason on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Jason
Unless
B.
you've
Strong.
decided.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You continue. You said you were. Where'd you
Oh
say
no,
that was?
that's it. I just said my name. Jason B. Strong.
Jason V. Strong. Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if you
Unless
decided to go
yeah.
off the grid out of fear of the Cannock Bigfoot. But I guess not.
Yeah. Not yet. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
He
You can
could
find
come
his
at
art
me.
there. Yeah, and of course, you can find the best clips of this show on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Underworld News Tonight. I know I didn't post any clips this past week, guys. Let me tell you, it was
Yeah.
just a
We
crazy
apologize.
fucking week. You know, I have things that
This
happen in my life sometimes.
this may come as a bit of a shock. This is not our day job.
This is not, we don't make,
This isn't
I'm
how
not
we
going
pay
to tell
the
you
bills.
how much. I know that a lot of our listeners probably listen to the Joe Rogan Experience and they think, "Wow, do you think those guys
Sure.
make as much as that guy makes?" And I'm not going to
No.
tell them how much we make
Mhm.
because that would be crass, obviously. But I will say, no, we do not
Sure.
make as much as Joe Rogan. We make
Yeah.
less money. Some might even say
Mhm.
considerably less money than Joe Rogan
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
now.
I think that's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Shit got away from us.
yeah. Yeah, so but we in general we post our clips there. We post there in general. You can find us there. If you have any ideas for something you'd like us to cover, you can send us an email, underworldnewstonight@gmail.com. We do appreciate that.
Yeah, it'd
And
be
every
super
week on
interesting.
Spotify, we have a poll that you can vote on your favorite story in. Some weeks I'll ask a Spotify question. This week I didn't, and I can't think of one right now, so we're not going to do that this week. But in general,
Yeah.
we will.
It's
Uh,
a free pass.
it's a free pass. I'm going to say
You know
this
what?
week's Spotify question is Jason. You can think of one.
I was gonna say this week there is no Spotify question, but that does not excuse you from providing an answer.
Yeah.
So you have to give
Well,
us
yeah,
some answer.
that's the Spotify question is what's the Spotify answer?
Yeah, just give us an answer. And
Thank
yeah.
you, Jason. We appreciate that because we're out here giving you guys the answers every week because
Mhm.
it's not easy being the ones that have them.
No.
Anyway, and I know you guys get stressed out
Horrible
waiting
burden.
between these episodes, but remember, take it easy,
Mhm.
live your life. It's all phantom
Mhm.
time right now, and also
Right now.
Jason Strong, you're in a coma. Wake up.
Oh shit.